YouTube, my name is Mesa and welcome back to another Destiny 2 news video. Alright folks, we've got some more Destiny 2 Shadowkeep DLC news to go over, courtesy of good old Polygon and Ryan Gillian. We know Ryan Gillian sat down with Mark Noseworthy and Luke Smith of Bungie, and I think he had a pretty long interview with them, but they're stretching it out into multiple articles. Well, today we're going to go over Destiny 2 Shadowkeep's artifacts will introduce a new flavor to each season. Bungie's Mark Noseworthy and Luke Smith explain the purpose of the returning gear slot. If you enjoy my content, a like rating is very much appreciated, and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Alright folks, let's get into it. Let's set the way back calendar for September 20th of 2016 when good old Rise of Iron came out. Well, Bungie, they introduced what was called the artifact system. Now the artifact was a new slot on your gear that you would then buy, or you would equip artifacts from a vendor named Tyra Karn over at the Iron Temple. Now, each one of these artifacts, they would come with different roles in intellect, discipline, or strength, but they all had a different purpose that would give you a benefit in the battlefield, whether it was PvE or PvP. Some of these perks included, one would give you Third Eye, that would be the memory of Gellion, where if you were sighting with your primary weapon, you could still see the radar on your screen. There was the memory of Yolder, which I never took off because that would remove the sprint penalty. Do you guys remember the days of having a sprint penalty? Yes, in Destiny 1 we had that. There was the memory of Silumar, which would give you some resistance to damage over time, but only in the Crucible. So you get the idea if you've never played Destiny 1. Well, in Destiny 2 we are getting what's called a seasonal artifact, and yeah, seasonal. Every season we will get a new artifact, and kind of seems like we're going to ditch the previous season's artifact, but as we get into the article, you can tell Bungie's pretty much open to, well, we're not going to lose everything, or it's open to them and us as a community to decide, will we lose what we gained from the previous artifact and move on to the next artifact. Alright, let's get into this article. The first season of Year 3 is going to be Season of the Undying, and that's going to involve the VEX a lot, and you'll see in this article we have a VEX raid confirmed. The VEX raid is going to take place on Mars within the Black Garden. On the Moon, we'll be dealing with the good old Hive and the Fallen. The Fallen have a catch set up there that they're trying to build their base back up there again, but we will have these VEX invasions all over the solar system. Deej at GuardianCon talked about that just briefly when he was on stage, that will be something that will be happening over the course of the season, hence why it's called Season of the Undying. And when I hear the term Undying, I think Undying Mine. I loved that strike from Destiny 1, and yeah, we don't like reskins, but I would be fine if they brought that strike back. It is on the Black Garden. The Black Garden is coming with Shadowkeep. Who knows? Would you guys want to see some reprise strikes? I'm pretty sure we're getting the summoning pits back. We do see good old Fogoth, and we do see, well, him in his same old room, and I don't think that's just a nightmare. I think we're going to have that strike back. But let me know in the comment section, do you want to see them, well, some strikes back from Destiny 1? And if so, which ones do you want to see? So, finally, Sean, get into the article. Here we go, and I'm going to read some of this verbatim and paraphrase some things here and there. In the original Destiny, artifacts aided Guardians by giving them additional perks and powers. In the Rise of Iron expansion, they even brought some significant changes to how the game is played. But Bungie decided to leave the item slot behind in Destiny 2 in 2017. Starting with Destiny 2 Shadowkeep and continuing through the year, players will earn a new artifact to help them along their journey. Now, in the original Vidoc, when they're going through this Eye of the Gatelord seasonal artifact, they talk about how they're really looking forward to seeing how us as players kind of fidget with all the switches or whatever they call it on this thing. And one of them says that when we get to the final tier, that some of the perks are almost exotic. But that begs the question, so you level up a seasonal artifact and then you get it to this exotic level and then you're going to ditch it for the next season's artifact and lose those perks? Don't worry, we're going to get into it. Let's go. So, Luke Smith says, the artifact is one part of this philosophy around making sure that in Destiny going forward, our seasonal content feels like it's got a sense of momentum. Each season, players will set aside their old artifact and pick up a new one. For the game's fiction, it's to help players feel like there's a through line in the Destiny experience. The Eye of the Gatelord, the artifact shown in the Out of the Shadows Vidoc, correlates to the VEX, who players will fight in the Black Garden raid in Shadowkeep. So there's your confirmation there. The raid is going to involve the VEX, and the Nemesis, yeah, is going to be the VEX, and they're going to be in the Black Garden, which is over on Mars. They continue with, while it's possible this artifact may not be the final version players will see on release, they still should expect a thematically appropriate artifact based on the season it belongs to, which would make sense because this season is, like I said before, called Season of the Undying, and on the roadmap, we do see the VEX there. I wanted to talk about this image on screen right here because a number of you guys have tweeted me this and wanted my opinion on it, but I don't have much of an opinion on it, but let's break it down. So we see a VEX portal, or we see what looks like the portal to the Black Garden from Destiny 1. In Destiny 1, on Mars, there was an area called Valley of the Kings, and this portal in the background would lead us into the Black Garden. But clearly here, well, this looks like the moon. We do see the VEX. First off, what are the VEX doing on the moon? Could this be some sort of simulation? Perhaps maybe the VEX are simulating something, and that's the way we're going to get into the raid through the moon? I don't know. That's my speculation. You guys speculate in the comment section, because clearly that looks like a moon version of the Valley of the Kings, and yeah, that looks like the portal, and clearly we see the VEX there. What do you think? Chime in the comment section. Moving along with the article here, artifacts impact more than just the Destiny story. Luke Smith says, we kind of have this overall vision for what we're trying to do with the Destiny RPG game, which is really enable and empower build crafting. The artifact is one of the tools that we're experimenting with alongside with Armor 2.0, which is modding your character and modding, in some cases, your abilities to become more powerful. Luke Smith suggested that players will slot mods into their new artifact each season, some of which could seriously impact player powers or abilities. So it looks like these are going to be time-sensitive mods and time-sensitive things to do with your artifact. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? And also when they say impact, well, seriously impact player powers or abilities, when they say powers, are they talking about, well, their overall power level or just powers in general? Or abilities, does that mean that they're augmenting the subclass trees? They did say in a previous Polygon interviews that they're not doing anything to the subclass trees, but could this be a way, or could the artifacts be a way to, well, be tweaking our subclass trees? What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. At the end of each season, players will replace their artifact with something completely new, with new mods and abilities. Again, that raises the question, well, what if you really liked what you had in your previous artifact? Now it's gone. I don't know, let's continue. Bungie intends to use artifacts to test new kinds of abilities each season. Presumably, this allows the studio to experiment with more creative builds for players to test out without creating a problem it needs to fix down the line. Since all seasonal mods expire after 3 months, the problems of power creep should solve themselves by the end of each season. So I get a feeling the power leveling system, I think, is going to take a back seat to the artifact and our abilities. I think it's going to be more about our artifact, our abilities, how we feel powerful through our abilities and our mods and our artifacts and our armor system, rather than the overall power number. I don't know. This is getting really interesting, guys. Smith was clear that just because a mod goes away now doesn't mean it'll never come back again. If players love a specific new mechanic and want it to return, and he did use the word mechanic, I'm liking where we're going here, the studio is open to obliging its audience. But more importantly, the studio remains dedicated to creating new ways for players to customize their Guardian. Mark Noseworthy said, we think of every season having some kind of flavor. He added that the team wants players to push their characters in completely new directions or builds each season. Remember guys, they're going full-blown RPG MMO. The studio won't reveal how exactly players will grow and enhance their artifact over each season, or how it will impact the Guardian's existing abilities. But in the Out of the Shadows Vidoc, developers refer to the endgame artifact abilities as being almost exotic. If these artifact abilities stay as impactful, Destiny's landscape will change more between its seasons than we've ever seen before. So in summary, guys, I'm pretty psyched because it seems like, yeah, they're definitely going more RPG MMO and less so much about grinding out a power number. I feel like we get so fixated on, all right, it's the new season, here's your number, go grind and get your powerful gear, become that power level, not look at any of your perks, but Here, it really looks like they're pushing us, or they're going to be pushing us more towards, well, how do you want your Guardian to function? What mechanics do you want your Guardian to have? What abilities do you want your Guardian to have? And maybe not be so focused on, well, what's my power level? I don't know. This is sounding exciting, but at the same time, I'm a little nervous, and I'm really hoping they can pull this off. Hopefully, we'll get some more information over the next coming weeks as we move into, well, September. September will be here before you know it. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Leave me a good old hashtag made it to the end if you did make it to the end, and do me a favor. Drop a like in this video only if you see fit. Follow me on Twitter at Mesa Sean. Check out my stream. Usually know it's on YouTube, and that's it. I am out of here like Vladimir.